Do you ever catch yourself repeating the same complaints over and over again, even when you really don't want to? Talking about how exhausted you are, how sick you've been, how nothing ever seems to go the way you want it to. And maybe you're not trying to be negative, you're just telling the truth as you see it. But what if every time you repeat that story, you're reinforcing it? You are the narrator of your life, and the way you tell your story decides where it goes next. I'm Julie from Dragonfly Awakening of Colorado, and today we're talking about how to start telling a different story, one that actually leads you where you want to go. Most people don't realize that they're telling the same story on repeat. It runs quietly in the background like a program on your computer. And after a while, you may not even notice it's there. Maybe your story sounds like, I'm always sick. Nothing ever works out for me. My life sucks. I have terrible luck. Nobody likes me. At first, it might describe something temporary, but the more you repeat it, the more your mind begins to treat it as permanent. Your brain is wired to look for proof. Whatever story you rehearse, it will gather evidence to support it. And eventually, what started as a blip in time, just a temporary circumstance, becomes an identity. So I've noticed something over the years. When someone is dealing with long-term pain or illness, it's completely understandable that it becomes part of their daily conversation. When you're uncomfortable, it can be really hard to think about anything else. But over time, the language can subtly shift. It moves from, I'm experiencing back pain, to my back pain. It can go from, I've been feeling anxious lately, to my anxiety won't let me do that. It becomes woven into who they believe they are. Now, let's be very clear. In no way am I telling you to deny your experience. This is not about pretending something isn't happening. Ignoring pain doesn't make it disappear. Suppressing it often makes it worse. Acknowledgement is healthy, but identification is different. When we repeatedly define ourselves by a condition, a pattern, or a past experience, we anchor it deeper into our sense of self. And what we identify with, we tend to maintain. We can make something that could have been temporary into something that stays with us all day, every day, simply with the stories that we tell ourselves. I'm not trying to tell you that every problem in your life is your fault. There's no guilt here, there's no fault. But the better you can understand what it is that keeps these circumstances you don't prefer active, the better chance you have at creating preferable circumstances. And that's something we all want. So what do you do instead? You don't fight it, you don't suppress it, you don't shame yourself for feeling it. You just approach it with curiosity. So instead of saying, why me, try asking, what might this be showing me? Instead of, this crap always happens to me, try, what is this teaching me about how I respond to my circumstances? When something shows up in your experience, chances are it has something to show you, something to teach you. It could even be leading you into a new, more empowered chapter of your life. So ask these questions and see what you can intuit. And if the answer isn't obvious, you can even say, I don't understand this yet, but I trust there's something here for me. That simple shift moves you out of victimhood and back into authorship. It doesn't deny the pain, it repositions you in relation to it. The truth is, you're going to tell a story either way. The question is whether the story you tell empowers you or traps you. So let's make this practical. If you find yourself saying something like, I'm always sick, try shifting that to, my body is recalibrating, or my body is in a process of healing. If you catch yourself saying, "My anxiety won't let me do that," you might try, "I'm having anxious thoughts about this, but I can still consider doing it." If you hear yourself saying, "This crap always happens to me," you could replace it with, "It's okay, I am still learning how to create different outcomes." Notice this isn't about jumping to unrealistic extremes. You don't go from "I'm struggling financially" to "I'm a millionaire" overnight. You move from "I'm doomed" to "I'm learning." Believability matters. Your nervous system needs to feel safe with the new story. Here's a little exercise you can try this week. Step 1. Notice the sentence you repeat most often about your life. It could be about pain or illness, a relationship, or just a pattern you've seen repeating in your life that you'd prefer to change. Step 2. Ask yourself, is this describing a temporary experience, or have I made it part of my identity? Step 3. Replace it with a sentence that leaves room for change, the kind of change that you'd actually prefer to see. For example, instead of "I'm just bad at relationships," you might try, "I'm learning how to choose healthier relationships." Then repeat that version instead. Your subconscious believes what you rehearse. Your nervous system responds to what you repeat. And your energy organizes around what you identify with. The words you speak are incredibly powerful. Everything you say is a spell you're casting on your life. You don't change your life by fighting your circumstances. You change your life by changing the narrator. And the narrator is you. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is exactly what we explore here, how to consciously evolve the story you're living so you can step into the version of your life that feels aligned, empowered, and intentional. If you'd like additional support, I offer energy healing sessions that support the release of old patterns and help restore clarity and balance. My husband Eric also offers spiritual transformation and ascension guidance for those seeking deeper insight and personal evolution. You can learn more or book a session at dragonflyawakening.com. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.